Hey guys, so this is going to be a video all about homemade baby food. I thought this was kind of a no-brainer kind of a thing, but I've posted a couple videos or pictures on Instagram and I always get asked to talk about it more. I've received emails from new moms and expecting moms that just kind of want to, I guess, pick my brain about what I use and how I make it and how I decide, you know, what to give her to eat. So I'm going to talk about kind of how I make her food, what I choose to make, the different combinations and recipes that I decide to give her each day, and along the way I'm going to talk about the baby bullet and just the different products that I use. So I hope that this video is helpful to any, like I said, expectant moms, new moms. This whole experience making her food has been so enjoyable. I absolutely love it. Whenever I tell people that I'm making her own baby food, they look at me like, oh, that must be so much work and oh my gosh, the time. But it's really so simple and it doesn't require a lot of time. And I think it's a lot easier than a lot of people think. I think the thought of making your own baby food to a lot of people is like an intimidating thought, and just the fact that like, who has time for that? And it's so much easier to just go to the store and, you know, buy pre-made baby food. But my whole thing behind it is, number one, I don't know exactly what is in those jars and pouches at the store. I like making my baby food because I know everything that's going into it. I'm making it in my own kitchen. To me, it's safer that way as far as like the ingredients. I don't have to worry about, you know, if she's allergic to something, I'll know exactly what it is she's allergic to because it's the only thing that I gave her and it's not a specific ingredient or a spice or something like that. And it's a lot cheaper than people think. Those pouches in the store, which have kind of taken over for the jars, back when I was a baby, my mom gave me the jarred baby food, they're at least $1 a piece. And that really adds up fast. And that pouch, you'll maybe get 2 meal times out of it, whereas if you go to the store and buy an apple, you could make for, you know, I don't know, 59 cents, you can make basically like 4 days worth of meals out of just one apple. So the cost breakdown, it's actually more inexpensive, I find. And I do tend to buy mostly all organic and it still comes out to be cheaper. And I've just been having a lot of fun like concocting different things and like giving Addison things to try and just kind of like, I don't know, making my own recipes. I don't use a recipe book. I do sometimes go online and I pin different things, but to be honest with you, I haven't really looked at those pins since I've started. The only thing that has helped me is the little booklet that came with my baby bullet. And in here, basically, it just tells you kind of how to work it and then different combinations and things you can try. But for the most part, I kind of do my own thing. Okay, so to start out, the baby bullet is basically the little baby of the magic bullet, which you guys I'm sure are all aware of. I received mine at my baby shower and I've really been enjoying using it. Essentially, it's just a blender. So if you have a blender or even a magic bullet, some other kind of mixer, this is not necessary. I think sometimes people think you need to purchase like a baby specific food maker. You don't. If you have a blender, this will get the job done. The only thing I like about this is it kind of is a good size. It's not some big huge thing. It's a nice like proportion size for the amount of food that I put in here, whereas like my Ninja blender is just huge and I never nearly make that much food in one serving. So I like the little portion size. This is actually the batch bowl used for like potatoes and to make like a batch and freeze. I tend to use the short cup the most, which is perfect, and you still kind of can get, I would say, 4 2-ounce little containers. So it comes with 6 of these, and I really like these because it has a date dial on it, and so you can turn this to the exact day that you made her food or his food, and then so that way if it's in your fridge, you know when the food was from. The baby bullet manual tells you to keep fresh food in the fridge for no more than 3 days, and then you can actually freeze food for up to 30 days. So that's where these come in. These are the little faux ice cube trays, and they're little 2-ounce servings, same size as the plastic ones, and then it has a lid that you can freeze. So I will say too, in the manual, the proportion sizes, like they tell you 1 avocado yields about 4 servings of the baby bullet. These are always wrong. Like I have made like 1 apple yields 3 baby bullet servings. I mean, you really have to go by the size of the apple. Not all apples are the same size. If you get a large apple, you'll obviously get more. If you have a smaller apple, you'll get less. Same like, you know, a zucchini. Zucchinis aren't one standard size. So you just kind of have to use this as a guide. I wouldn't, you know, really use this as your, you know, Bible. As far as like the serving sizes. So when I started Addison on solids, I started with the 4-day introduction rule. Basically, you introduce a new food every 4 days, and that way, if she breaks out or has an allergic reaction, usually it takes a couple days for things like that to happen, and then I would know firsthand, oh, it was the zucchini that I gave her. And I only start with 1 single food. And then once she kind of had multiple amounts of foods and different variety, then I kind of started mixing them together. But really, I would only introduce 1 new food every 4 days, and that has worked out extremely well. Just to give you a rundown of what I have given her, she's gotten quite a few different varieties of food. I do try to give her a fruit in the morning and then a vegetable at night. We started introducing yogurt, and she loves that, so I usually give her some yogurt and maybe, you know, on its own at like snack time, lunchtime, or I'll mix it with a fruit. We also started introducing oatmeal and brown rice, homemade, not the baby cereal brown rice. I've homemade my own brown rice and my own oatmeal because we're starting to introduce different textures to her now. And so as far as the different fruits she's gotten, she loves apples, she loves pears, mangoes, peaches, blueberries. This week we're on strawberries, which she loves. Banana was, I think, the first thing that we introduced her to. She loves bananas. Mangoes, did I say? What else? I think that's it as far as fruits go. As far as vegetables go, carrots, peas, green beans, squash, zucchini, avocado, and I think that's it. We still haven't done broccoli or spinach. I'm starting butternut squash on Thursday. So far, knock on wood, she hasn't had any allergic reactions or adverse reactions to anything that I've given her aside from peas. On the 2nd day that I had been giving her the peas, her back broke out in like a little bit of a rash, and I think that was at the time of her 6-month visit, I want to say, and I had her doctor look at it, and he said he did not feel that it was related to the peas, that it was just maybe like a little bit of a viral thing. Since then, I've reintroduced the peas on another like separate 4-day schedule, and she has been fine with it. So far, like I said, knock on wood, she hasn't had any adverse reactions. Everything, for the most part, that I have given her, everything I've given her has been organic. It's not always really easy to find organic, especially different fruits, because they're not always in season. For example, I could not find organic blueberries at my local supermarket, so I did buy organic frozen blueberries. So that's an option too if it's out of season, like right now peaches aren't in season. I got frozen peaches that were organic. Again, you don't have to be buying organic fruits and vegetables. I don't know. I just feel better about it, and I just want to be able to control as much as I can what is going into her body, and the fewer pesticides and chemicals and things like that, the better. I also really like doing the 4-day schedule because I can find out if she actually likes the fruit or the vegetable on its own before I actually mix it. She has loved every single kind of fruit that we have given her. Oh, and the other thing I've been giving her is sweet potatoes. She loves sweet potatoes. It is by far her favorite thing. She hasn't been as pro veggies as she has been with fruit, and I think that's just normal. I mean, fruits are very sweet, but veggies are, I think, a little bit more bland for a new palate. So she likes carrots on its own. She did not like peas or green beans on their own. However, I've recently mixed carrots with the green beans, and she slops it right up. So that's been fun too, kind of just like, okay, you don't like that by itself. I don't completely not try it again. I do try it again, and I just maybe mix it with something else. Squash, she hated squash. She would like, you know, as soon as I'd touch it to her lips, she would be spitting it out. But recently we introduced squash, and I mixed it with apples, and she loved it. So that always makes me feel better. The oatmeal, I tried by itself. She wanted no part of it. I recently have been adding banana and strawberry to her oatmeal, and she loves it. She eats the whole thing. So if I can get her to eat oatmeal by just adding a simple little fruit to it, that's what I do if it'll get her to eat oatmeal. I have not used any kind of salt, sugar, cinnamon, sweetener, or anything like that. I'm kind of waiting for the green light from my doctor. I also haven't introduced any kind of meats or cheeses or dairy aside from yogurt. I haven't done any of that. Haven't given her any kind of puffs or finger foods or anything like that. She has no teeth yet, and I'm just really nervous about giving her like anything like that. Whereas I know that they dissolve in their mouth, but I don't know, just the fact that she doesn't have teeth yet makes me really nervous to try anything. So yeah, I'm gonna share with you what I have in the freezer and kind of the whole process. Basically, what I do in the beginning of the week, I sit down and I do a meal plan for Nick and I always do that on Sunday, what we're gonna eat for the week. And then next to that, I've been kind of going over what I'm gonna give her. It's not necessarily what I'm gonna be giving her every day, but what new foods I'm gonna be introducing to her. So when I sit down and I make my list, then I take it to the grocery store, I know which fruits, which vegetables, potato I wanna try that week. So for example, this week on the menu, I had butternut squash soup for Nick and I purposely did that because I haven't introduced butternut squash to her and I really wanted to. So cut up the butternut squash, cleaned it all, I steamed it. So before you use your baby blender, you have to steam it. Again, I have the Baby Bullet steamer that I got from my shower. You do not need a specific steamer. You can easily boil the vegetables on the stove. You can make a steamer out of a pot and a bowl, and they even sell vegetable steamer bowls. So again, a nice little luxury to have. It's really convenient. I'll give you just a quick rundown if you're interested. It has 5 different settings. It comes with a little manual, so it tells you like if you're steaming an apple, which setting to put it on. Basically, I just chop up the vegetable, the potato, the squash, whatever, put this on here. You put about a cup of the water. This is the little cup that it comes with. Fill this with water. It plugs in. Stack your fruit or your vegetables, put the lid on, and it steams. Each setting is different timed. It beeps when it goes off, and it's done. The other thing that's nice that comes with the steamer are these little dishes, and you can either heat up your baby food if it's in the freezer, or I use these for like peas and blueberries, loose things like that I don't want to have to, you know, deal with falling through here or something like that. The chunks are a lot easier than like the loose little peas or something like that. So that's really nice. And that goes on like that. So again, a nice thing to have, definitely not necessary. And it takes up a little bit of counter space. So that's something to think about. So once my food is steamed, I put them into here. Sometimes I have to do this, like use this like 3 different times, 3 different servings, depending on how much, especially like with potato. I tend to cut up the potato slices a little bit smaller because potatoes usually take a little bit longer to cook. So I have to do them in like 3 different batches. Put them in here, put the lid on. There's actually 2 different, this is for milling like oatmeal and brown rice, the grains to get them a little bit smaller. The one with the 4 blades is actually to crush the food. So put the lid on, and then this just works the same way as your Magic Bullet. It's a small little thing, plugs in, you push down. You can set it and let it go if you want it really pureed, or you can just do like little pulse action if you want a little bit more of texture, which is what I'm doing now because we're starting with more textures. And then that's pretty much it. And then what I do if it's a new food is I take out 3 of these little plastic jars. I fill these up to about, these are 2-ounce jars. I fill them up to like about 1 inch from the top. And these go in my fridge, and this is what she's gonna eat, you know, by itself for the first 3 days. And usually that's like, you know, it's either 1 fruit or 1 vegetable. So I'll be giving her combinations in the morning or at night, whichever, and then the single one on its own when I introduce a new one. And whatever I have left, because I typically do have stuff left, I would freeze. Now, this is, I definitely wanted to mention this. I am not a fan of this ice cube tray, this frozen food tray. The portion sizes are perfect. However, once they're frozen, once they're frozen, I pop them out and I put them in Ziploc baggies and I put the label and I put the date on there. These are so difficult to get out of. Like, I had to have my husband do it a couple times. I've had to run it under hot water. They just are not they don't pop out very easily. So I don't even really use this. What I did was I went to Bed Bath & Beyond. They're in my freezer right now. I went to Bed Bath & Beyond and I bought the same exact concept. They're little silicone ice cube trays. And these are what I use. This is strawberries right now. Like I said, I introduced the strawberries this week. So these are 2-ounce servings. These are about 1-ounce servings. So I just pop out 2. Instead of giving her one of those, I just pop out 2 cubes. And then you just put them in the microwave. I start with 10-second intervals to heat them up. And I just want them to be like warm, if not room temperature, especially veggies. Fruits, I tend to leave them cold on the cooler side. I don't heat the fruits through. Veggies, I do. But these trays are so much easier to pop out. They break up really easily. You kind of just, you know, wiggle the trays and you can already see like they just pop out so much easier. So I have a few of these and I just line them up and stick this in my freezer, and then I pop them out and I put them in little Ziploc bags. So here are some of her foods. And the most fun part for me is kind of figuring out like what she's gonna eat each day and kind of making, like I said, my own little concoctions. The night before, what I do is I stick whatever I'm gonna give her for breakfast, I stick it in a little ramekin and I put that in the fridge so it's defrosted by the morning, and then all I have to do is heat it up if I need to. Like I said, if it's a fruit, I don't tend to heat fruit up. If it's defrosted enough, I'll just give it straight from there. And then in the morning, once I pull that out of the fridge, I go in the freezer and I take out what she's gonna have for dinner and I put that into the fridge so that can defrost all day. So I just label each bag and I put the date. So this is avocado, banana, oatmeal, peaches, sweet potato. This is an organic white, green beans, peas, brown rice. I have more in the fridge. I didn't pull them all out. And then in this one, these are some leftover carrots that I had from last week, and then my butternut squash that I made yesterday, and then I will be giving her in a couple days. So normally what I would do is just pop these out and put them into a Ziploc bag, but I just haven't done it yet. And then that's pretty much it. I'm gonna put these away so that they don't defrost. I have pears in there and apples. I just kind of play around and see what she likes. The other cool thing is you can, you know, if you introduce a fruit or something and you're not sure if she likes it or doesn't like it, like for blueberries, I kind of wasn't sure. She was eating it but spitting it out, but then she would open her mouth for more. So I would give her, you know, I gave her straight blueberries for the first 4 days, and then and you can introduce like, you can mix oatmeal with blueberries or strawberries with blueberries if you've already introduced that food. You just don't want to introduce more than one new food at a time. So I wasn't sure, so I gave her like 2 days of straight just blueberries in the morning, and I wasn't sure. And the next day I added like a banana to it and she loved it. So then I would add like just oatmeal and blueberry, and she did that. So it's kind of just all like trial and error. It's just experimenting, mother's instinct. You'll be able to tell, your baby will let you know if he or she likes it. The other thing too that you can do if you don't want to look up like recipes or buy a specific baby book is sometimes when I'm in Target or the grocery store, I go to the baby food aisle where they sell the pouches, and I just kind of take a little inventory of the different combinations that they have. And some of them do not sound appetizing at all to me, but I'll see like what they mix, like what fruits and vegetables they mix, and I'll either like write them down or put them in my phone or just remember them, like, oh, that's a good combination to try. I haven't done any like recipes where you know, it's like 3 different ingredients and then you steam those and blend them together and then put them in the ice cube trays. Because if I do a recipe of like, you know, a fruit and 2 vegetables and I make a big batch of it and she doesn't end up liking it, now I just wasted those fruits and vegetables and she's probably not going to eat them. But if I do each fruit or vegetable separately and then I can make my own little combinations, if she doesn't like that combination, I'm really not at a loss aside from that serving, and then the next day I can just try something else. So that's why I haven't really done specific recipes. Like for example, I've seen a recipe that added, that was like butternut squash, spinach, and pear, I think it was. If she doesn't like that, now I'm at a loss and I can't separate them because they're already mixed, so that kind of stinks. But if I have a bag of spinach and a bag of pear and a bag of butternut squash, I could maybe try the butternut squash and just the spinach, or the butternut squash and just the pear, and I can kind of see what it is that she doesn't really like, and I'm not losing out on my time making that, and then of course all the ingredients. So I think it's really wise to just have individual baggies of each fruit or vegetable or potato, and then that way you can mix. Like I said, she loves sweet potatoes so much, and when I first introduced the carrots, she wasn't a huge fan. So recently I've been mixing sweet potatoes, peas, and carrots all together in the same little dish. She loves it. Like, she literally could lick the bowl clean if I let her. So there again, like, it was trial and error, and now I got her to eat carrots. So it's kind of just, it's just all really fun. But I think the take home, the thing that I wanted you guys to know is that it does not take a lot of time. The preparation, I would say it maybe to do one vegetable or a few apples to make for the week, maybe takes me 20 minutes by the time it's like steamed and blended and then put into the ice cube trays. Have in the freezer probably like 2 months worth of baby food that I don't need to be worrying about making new. I have some spinach in the fridge because I haven't introduced spinach yet, so that's something I'm gonna just, I picked it up at the store when I was there. I'll make it and then blend it and put them in ice cube trays and leave them in the freezer, and then after the butternut squash I can introduce spinach. So I'm kind of always thinking ahead. The beauty is that I can freeze things and give them to her later in time. Everything's kind of there, and then it's just a matter of like popping them into the microwave and heating them back to room temperature or heating them up, and that is that. It's also really easy to like travel with them. I know a lot of people say when you're making baby food, like, well, what do you do when you have to travel or you have to go somewhere? You just pop out a couple cubes and you throw them in a Tupperware, you throw them in a little, little thing, and you take it with you. And if you're somewhere that doesn't have a microwave, like if you go out to eat, for example, and you don't have a microwave, this is something I've done before. I'll take my little cubes or my little baby food servings, I'll have them defrosted. Ask the waitress for hot boiling water, like a tea mug, and then you just stick this in the tea mug and it'll heat up the food for you. So, common sense, don't make it harder than it is. It's extremely easy, travel friendly. So I hope that this video was helpful to you guys. I'm not all over the place. I feel like I had a lot of information that I wanted to share with you. All in all, I love making it. I would recommend it if you're not someone that, thinks you could do it or thinks it's really hard. Just give it a try. It's really, really fun. Getting to experiment with different textures and flavors. If you guys have any recommendations on different concoctions and combinations for me to try, leave them in the comments below. That would be great. And if you have any other questions that I didn't already answer in the video, please post them below. I'm also going to do an accompanying blog post of everything that I talked about here, so I'll link my blog in the description box if you want to read more. And I think that's it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!